And welcome to Witch Hat Chats. Come on in and sit for our spell. We're sponsored by Evermoving We Rise, Moonlight Potions and Charms, and Saul Ravencraft, Wizard for Hire. I am your goddess host, Miss Nikki Kirby, and our co-host, Saul Ravencraft, is somewhere. He's in a special location. Where the hell are you, Saul?
Well, I'm actually right here at Nature's Treasures in Austin, Texas. It is a fantastic shop with all kinds of rocks and crystals and candles and oils and jewelry and stuff. And they have a practitioner's corner. And I am one of the regularly featured practitioners. Today is my day. But I was able to put an appointment in so that we could talk. So glad to be here. How is your world?
Oh, my world is going great. Um, our sales are just flying out the door, and we're coming up with some great things, and we're going to be at so many vendor places. So everything is going great. So do you want to know what our divination is for today?
Oh, you betcha.
Well, I think is going to fit our show for today. So our divination, okay, so I'm going to tell you what our tea is for today. So our tea is a mixture of mine. Years ago, my mom, I asked her for some Earl Grey tea and some green tea, and what she came up with was Earl Grey green tea. And I loved it. So it's really hard to find. So now I have to go and actually kind of mix it. So that's what I do now. So I've mixed Earl Grey green tea. And it's really good. So that's what I've got in my little Winchester cup today. So our divination comes from Robin Williams. And he said, "You're only given a little spark of madness. You mustn't lose it." And you know what? I kind of agree. We all have our little spark of madness. And I don't really think when he says madness, I think it's more like a sense of humor, a way that we look at the world in our own little kind of shape, because everybody kind of looks at it in their own little point of view in a sort of way. Because when people kind of look at, for example, is the cup half full or is it half empty? Those type of people. And I just look at the cup as, hey, let's drink what's in the cup and then let's fill it.
Right.
You know? So like I kind of look at it. It's just all how you look at things. What do you think, Saul?
Well, perspective is key, and madness. The way I think of it is that resistance to so-called reality. That idea that everything is the way it is supposed to be, everything is the way it is defined. And we have to, especially as practitioners, be able to see things the way that they can be, the way that they might be, and have the vision to bring it about. And so, yes, if you ever let the world beat out of you that imagination, that way of seeing the possibilities, then I think you're lost
Hmm.
because you're stuck. All your energy goes to someone else, and you manifest their vision.
Right. Because a lot of times when people come up with new ideas, a lot of people will say, "Oh, you're mad. That's never going to work." You know, like for example, when they said that the world was round, everybody thought it was flat.
Right.
You just fell off the end of it. But no, the world is round. So, Yeah, they was calling people mad about that, you know. So yeah, we all need a little bit of madness for us because we're all mad
I
around
agree.
here.
Oh, you bet. You bet.
Mm, mhm. So Saul, I know that you had a front seat to the eclipse that happened on Monday. So
I
how
did.
was
Well, I was fortunate in that the totality zone was right in my backyard, literally. So I did not have to go anywhere or do anything special. I just went out in my backyard and laid in the grass and got to see it. And I'd never really been to an experience like that before. I've seen a few lunar eclipses. I was aware of some partial solar eclipses. I remember as a kid there was one that was an almost full eclipse, but it never did what happened here. And a total eclipse is just fascinating. I was using the special glasses and looking and watching the sun diminish more and more, and it started getting a little dusky. And my cat came out and started snuffling around me as it was getting darker. And he very shortly decided he just wanted to go be in the house. And I thought that was wise, so I let him in. And the the dusky feeling was pretty cool. And then the totality happened, and it just got dark. It was an awe-inspiring moment there. And a friend of mine posted that having experienced the totality, he could understand why we wanted to burn people during those things because it was astonishing. It was just incredible to see everything just suddenly go dark, and you could see that corona glistening around the shadow of the moon. And from a spiritual standpoint, from a metaphysical standpoint, it was very much a feeling of renewal. You could feel like you had passed through a significant threshold there. Uh, and I know that this is just physics going on. I know it's something that we can predict, right? I laugh at some of the people that talk as though the eclipse was made just for them, as though it was this special thing, right? It's a sign, it's an omen. No, it's physics, right? And yet, knowing those things, the experience of the eclipse, the emotion of feeling that sunlight diminish, that darkness come so quickly. Within a minute, we went from dusk to dark, and that hits you. Um, and all the birds went silent, and it was just an extraordinary moment. And I know that there are some people that they talk about the superstition that people have of these natural events and attributing some powerful thing to them. And I get that, right? I get that. But also the emotional experience of going through these things and the way your mind encounters it creates an opportunity for you to do something, to work something. And so I got to experience that. And I don't know if I'll ever see anything like that again in my lifetime. So it was unique and it was special. Um, we had a little bit of a miracle. It was overcast the day of the eclipse. And I know that people had paid like $300 for rooms at a Best Western to to be in the eclipse zone. People were definitely flexing the scarcity of those kinds of things, and I get it. I totally get that. But at the same time, uh, there was that, okay, so people have done all this for eclipse and it's going to be overcast. You're not going to see anything. It'll just get dark all of a sudden, but it does that when it threatens a tornado too. So nothing super special. And then miraculously, about 15 minutes before the full eclipse, the clouds started really breaking up. During the full eclipse, I was able to see it all very clearly. The clouds had thinned out, and then the eclipse happened, and then it all clouded over again. So, how wonderful. And I wonder if there was anyone that, looking at the weather forecast, gave up on it and went, well, never mind. It looks like it's going to be overcast. Screw all that, and didn't even try. But it was a huge blessing to be able to just go out in my backyard, have this experience, not have to do anything super special. It came to me, and that just I'm going to be thinking about those moments of darkness for a while and what that feeling was like. Because I remember when it kind of fluttered, the shadow, had it almost covered and it looked like it pulled out a little bit again. I thought, oh, okay, well, maybe this isn't going to do what I expect. And then suddenly it was dark. And I just remember going, damn. Because it was just so, I mean, intellectually I knew, but the experience was, I couldn't have anticipated what that experience would feel like. And so beautiful thing. If an eclipse comes your way, I definitely recommend that you take the opportunity to experience that. I don't know that I'd go way out of my way for it, because there was a lot of madness going on. There were places completely overrun with people, and a little bit of panic in the infrastructure. There were some places in Texas that actually declared disasters, not so much because they thought the world was going to end, although I think there were a few of them. And apparently people were not raptured, which would have solved so many problems. But I understand that was postponed until the 23rd, so that'll be coming up soon. But the infrastructure just wasn't necessarily designed for that many visitors. Thousands, tens of thousands of extra people were anticipated. And with all the traffic and resource needs and all of that. And so everybody was on alert. I haven't heard of anything terribly weird happening, though. So I think everybody had a safe time of it, which is good. So that was what it was like.
Hmm.
Have you ever experienced a full eclipse?
No, I had where I'm at, we kind of got like 80-75% of it where I was
Right.
at. And I was actually asleep. I took a nap because I am actually kind of sick, so I didn't feel good. But I did take advantage of all of the energy that it contained and it left over that night for magic. And I go ahead and tell you something. That was some powerful mojo that the energy had left, because that night I did about 5 spells that night. Very,
Wow.
very powerful, powerful magic. And I have seen the results, the manifestation the next day, starting the next day, literally. And it has been continuing ever since. And some of the flames of the candles were like this high.
Wow.
And I'm like, damn. Because here I am sitting up there. Cause see, with me, when I need something quick, I usually do like tea light candles or those chime candles. And two of them were chime candles, and it was the chime candles that were really, really big. And when it comes to tea light candles or chime candles, they're usually no more than maybe 4 hours, if that long. And I have seen a chime candle burn as quick as 2 minutes. I've seen
Wow.
them burn that quick. I've also seen them burn as long as 6 hours. I've
Sure.
seen a tea light candle burn as long as 8 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it just depends on the spell and everything. And one of them, my tea light candle, for one of them, which was a cause of depression, it burned for about 8 hours because I lit that sucker at 6 o'clock at night, and it did not go out until 5 o'clock that morning. And that was a tea light candle,
Wow.
just a little nasty little thing, to get rid of it. And basically, what I did was I treated depression like it was an entity in itself, because that was how you needed to really treat it. And I remember our guest that we had on show last year, who wrote the book about depression and
Hmm.
what's not. And he said that we need to have like a altar to it, a little devotion, to it, making an entity, because that's what it is. And so I was kind of thinking about it like that. And when I did this candle, and I figured, if I'm going to get rid and get out of this, because I've been in this deep funk for several days, several weeks. I've been in and out of it for several weeks. And I just wanted to get out of it, you
Sure.
know. And I figure if anything is going to get me out of it, with the energy from the solar eclipse, that's got to be able to get me out of it.
Right.
So that was one of the spells that I did. And it has got me. Oh, I tell you. But that was some very, very powerful energy, very powerful magic. And like I said, the next day I have seen the starting results from that. But no, we wasn't even going to see maybe about 75% of it, but not the whole thing. So I watched it on the news though.
Sure.
That way
Sure.
I didn't need the glasses.
Nice.
But it would have been nice if I could just have gone in my own backyard and look at it. That would have been awesome. But they even had I forgot what airline it was, an airline that was actually going to fly with that eclipse, the entire time. And they
Wow.
were paying several $1,000s for people to be on board during that time
Sure.
for the eclipse. And I'm like, I want to see the eclipse. Come on, right?
Right.
And in the United States, they were saying that was going to be a $3 billion was going to come into the economy for
Right.
that, for the solar eclipse, because people were making special wines. They were making special, everything was going to be special, especially this one town that always celebrates any type of eclipse,
Hmm.
because it always seems to hit this town for some reason. And I thought that was kind of fascinating. Every eclipse hits this one particular town, and that's all they celebrate all the time. And I thought that was really, really neat.
Right.
Um, so, but we are going to take a very short, quick break and listen to our sponsors. And then we are going to be right back with Witch Hat Chats. So stay tuned.
Anybody can tell you what is on a tarot or oracle card. What matters is seeing beyond what others may not be able to see and help the client to uncover what lies in the mist. What do readings from Moonlight Potions and Charms do?
Wednesday, I did this ancestor reading, and it was an amazing reading. And it was a detailed reading. And I remember talking to this customer's ancestors, and it was so delightful. And he wanted some questions to be answered about the magic in his family because he didn't know. And his family was mostly like most of our families are. You know how everything is like hush hush when it comes to the magic in his family. And he wanted to know who can he actually talk to about the history of the magic in his family. And I was able to give him specifically who he can go to talk to about that. What particular deity he can actually go to be able to help him with this. And it was just an amazing reading, and talking to his ancestors, they were such a delight, and they told me so much about this customer. It was just an absolutely wonderful reading for him, and I was just so happy to be able to give him this wonderful reading. It's really amazing to be able to give people these readings, these products that's really going to help them, and be able to give back to the community, because this is what Moonlight Potions and Charms is about. We want to help you to embrace the power of your own magic. That is what we are all about. It's to help you to do that.
Book now and allow our wonderful staff to take care of your spiritual reading needs. And there is so much more in our Wicked store to help you to embrace the power of your own magic. So come on in to Moonlight Potions and Charms at www.moonlightpotionscharms.com and discover the wicked things that ignite the magical passion in you. Have you heard? The King of the Crossroads, Papa Legba, has graciously opened the roads, paving the way for the Papa Legba Altar on the Go to be nominated as Outstanding Product of the Year in the 2024 Witchcraft and Occult Media Awards. Makes Papa Legba Altar on the Go stand out? Complete traveling altar kit. Everything you need for sacred space is right at your fingertips, all neatly arranged in a mystical painter's pail. And it's compact and convenient. A perfect, powerful, temporary altar, whether you're a modern nomad, a military soul on the move, or a wanderlust-stricken traveler. It also has additional space for the personal touch. As customization is a key to your spiritual journey, the Papa Legba Altar on the Go leaves room for you to infuse your unique energy. Moonlight Potions and Charms and Papa Legba invites you to join the spellbinding spectacle at the 2024 Witchcraft and Occult Media Awards. Cast your vote for the Papa Legba on the Go as the Outstanding Product of the Year. Your support fuels the magic. Go to https://rb.gy/PC3F11 to cast your vote. Remember, your altar is not just a space, it's a step in your magical journey. Explore the depths of your inner self by visiting Moonlight Potions and Charms at mpcmagic.com. Be ready to embrace the power of your own magic. Have you wondered what spirituality is? Spirituality is limitless, as it does not contain any boundaries on beliefs or practices. Spirituality's most important component is personal experience and allows one to explore it freely. Evermoving We Rise is a spiritual moving tradition, as our name is our lifestyle, because we are persistently rising and moving forward. We realize that everyone's spiritual journey is extremely personal, but more easily traveled with reinforcement. We'll teach you to become friends with your shadow, emerge your authentic self, and give you time and space to develop your own spirituality. And when situations bump back, you'll have the entire community behind you, as we are a magical family who work to sustain each other. Discover the benefits of working within a society dedicated to helping you grow on your personal path. Visit us on our website, Linktree, or Facebook page and discover why we don't fit in the box.
Welcome back to Witch Hat Chats. This is Saul Ravencraft. I am here with Miss Nikki Kirby. We've been talking about the eclipse. We've been talking about unexpected ways to channel magic and to channel natural events here, and just being part of the flow. So you've done some eclipse magic, Nikki. What other kinds of events do you tend to channel in your work?
Well, it just depends. We always do the full moon and the new moon, or what people call the dark moon. It just depends on your point of view, whether you want to call it new or dark. It just depends. Some people even use the sun for their energies. I think it just depends on what you want to do for your intention. We're always talking all the time about intention, and just trying to figure out what that intention is, figure out what your goal is. I use dragon energy as well. So for example, there are sometimes, I think Lake Lure still has these in June. They're called the dragon boat races.
Right.
And I love to go to those. They are so much fun to go to those when we go up to Lake Lure. And if people don't know what Lake Lure is, Lake Lure, North Carolina, if you ever seen Dirty Dancing, you've seen Lake Lure, trust me. Or if you've ever seen the original Firestarter, you've seen Chimney Rock, you've seen Lake Lure. We're famous for that. We've got tours just for those two movies. I mean, and I can name at least 5, 6 others, around there for that. So, anyway, it's all that energy that it brings, that raw energy, because I'm surrounded by the Appalachians and the magic that occurs around there. And everybody is. It doesn't matter whether you're in the country, the mountains, or even in the city. Man, just think about it. In the city, you've got so many other things that you can be able to attach to, because there's electricity that you can be able to pull from. There is the water. You can be able to pull from the water there. And people's like, oh, you can't pull. Yeah, you can pull from the water. You've got your elements always around you. You've got your air. You've got your earth somewhere. Because I'm sorry, there's a tree some damn where in the city. Okay, everybody's got their trees. You got air everywhere, because if you didn't, you'd be dead. You got a fire because somebody's got a match somewhere. Somebody smokes. There's always somebody that's going to smoke somewhere. You got your water because you got a tub somewhere. And then we already talked about earth, and then you got spirit, because we all have spirit inside of us.
Right.
So there's be someplace. And besides, we're all made up of each one of those elements, anyhow. So there's always something that you can be able to pull from.
Yeah.
And like I said, it just depends on what your needs are and how you look at it. Let's go back to our divination of madness. Some people thought that because a person had an idea that the earth was round, they thought they were mad about that. Or that Sir Isaac Newton thought that gravity, everything that goes up must come down. They thought that was mad about that. I don't know why. I mean, how you throw things up, it comes down. What do they think? It was going to float? Really?
I also find that the seasonal energy is something to work with. One of the decks that I use, which was designed by our friend Francis Houston Blakely Sushamel III, that we had on the show some time back. His divination deck deals with seasons rather than elements. Elements are what I'm most used to in my practice. So I had to twist my brain a little bit to wrap my head around his idea of using the seasons. But the seasons are also fantastic, just like you use phases of the moon to help center around what it is you're trying to accomplish. The different seasons are wonderful. The spring, planting, the envisioning, the intention, the creation, summer, doing the work, getting your hands dirty, putting that energy into things, the harvest, collecting things, accounting things, celebrating what you've gained. And then that winter time where we have to have some stillness and we have to do more of the inner work than we can the outer work. And we can visualize, we can incorporate those seasons anytime we want. But when you're working with, say, equinoxes and that sort of thing, those are great times to specifically apply that energy. So I think that's something else to bear in mind, that while we have the elements all around us, that we're also working with the energy of the seasons in the wheel of the year.
Yeah. And it's like the hoodoo tarot, they work with concepts and symbols. And it's just like for most of the tarots, everything is the full. It's the first one, right? It's 0. Well, in the hoodoo tarot, it's called the free man. It's the first one. And that's a
Right.
concept. And it's basically saying that the free man is not really a fool. They already know they already know basically that they don't know what's ahead. They already know what's behind them. And they
Right.
know that they're going on a new journey. And they're very well aware of that. Unlike the fool doesn't understand any of that. They just keep going. They just
Sure.
going to go ahead, just jump off the cliff. Hey, what the hell? Let's jump off the cliff. Unlike the free man is educated. He understands because he has been through a tough life before. But he is willing to learn new things. And he knows that
Sure.
he is going to be going on a rough new journey. It's a
Right.
little bit like a different kind of concept, and I kind of like that. And then you have the runes and you have bones, and all of that is based on symbols and what it means to you, because especially with bones, what it means to you may be different than what it means to me, especially with that. And what your ancestors tell you, one thing, is going to be different than what they tell me. So that's another different type of energy. You got your spiritual energy.
Right.
So it all just depends on the intention the concept, depends on the practitioner.
Sure. And the practice. It's the reason why we call it practice. It's about the doing, not the thinking about. Now, you want to think about it, but then you got to do it.
Well, you put it into action. You actually turn it into what Byron and I call field work, field magic.
Right.
You know, you can sit there and think about it all day, but thinking about it's really not going to make it into anything until you actually make it into something. You know.
Exactly.
It's just like I could have sit there and sat on all that energy on Monday and done nothing. And then I wouldn't be here. But it just literally popped into my head. And it popped into my head very late. And I'm like, let's do this.
Yeah.
You know? And the thing about it is I can do that because I have done my practice for many years to be, perfected. Now, I wouldn't advise someone who is brand new to the practice to just snap their fingers and be able to do that. But,
Sure.
But somebody who's, like you and me, Saul, is a different story.
Always a different story.
So, Saul, what do you do while you're there?
Well, I do readings and consultations. So people come up and there's a sign-up list. They hold their place in line with their mobile numbers, so they don't have to stand in line waiting their turn. They can shop. They could even leave the store if they wanted. And then when they're going to be next, they get a text and cards. I have my witch room. And just it depends on what people are trying to do. Sometimes people are just curious, and they're not sure what they're looking for. They just want the experience, and we give them that. Sometimes people have something specific that they're trying to do. Sometimes it goes beyond reading. I've done grounding rituals and different things depending on what people are trying to accomplish. And in fact, my first person today was familiar with our show. And so that was fun. She lives elsewhere, but she's come to San Antonio a couple of times, both related to eclipses, I believe. And she was there for the eclipse and discovered I was going to be here at Nature's Treasures. So came by for a reading, and nice to know our people are out there. They're real.
We are real.
Well, Nikki, it is time for me to turn my attention back to the lovely people coming into Nature's Treasures. We've got someone on the waiting list. But I'm so glad that we were able to talk about the eclipse and the nature of working with this. And I do treasure what we do here. I hope it helps people.
Yep. So that's all for our show today. So embrace your power, support your community, and keep your fuzzy babies, your family, friends, and yourself safe. And have an absolute magical week.
I know some people who like to chat. I think they're witches, how about that? And every Sunday at 12 o'clock And if you're hurting, they're willing to talk. Nikki curving with that black stone. I agree, Evermoving We Rise. Life and soul will the beautiful mind. I give you blessings under moonlight. I know some people who like to chat. I think they're witches, how about that? And every Sunday at 12 o'clock